Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So in today's video, as you can tell by the title, we'll be talking about a powerful storm system, a cluster of thunderstorms, several actually, that could be bringing pretty much all sorts of severe weather, all forms of it, all modes of it, if you will: tornadoes, large hail, damaging wind, and especially flooding, heavy rain. And it could be occurring across quite a bit of area, real estate, so we definitely have to be talking about that. Also, just the other things we'll be talking about, including the southwest monsoons and into the northeast, the storm system that is spinning away right now. But before we do, if you guys are into weather, if you like what you're seeing, check out the channel, watch the video obviously, and consider subscribing then. And that, helps the channel grow. We have a bunch of weather lovers on here. And if you are a returning viewer, hello and welcome. Consider liking the video since you already know you like this stuff. If you're new, also consider liking it. And if you have any comments or concerns, leave them down below. I pretty much get to every single comment, maybe unless it just flies by and doesn't get detected by my radar. Alright, let's start talking about the weather. So notice, right now we don't have that much activity going on across the central United States, which is where the worst of this kind of storm system that I'm talking about in the title will be occurring. But notice, across the northeast and southeastern Canada, depending on which point of view you look at from, there is some activity, and there's actually quite a bit of it. There's some severe storms warned across Pennsylvania. They have some damaging wind. Some of them have some sizable hail, and of course a heavy rain threat. Notice right there, just west of Rochester, for example, we have a very, very, very healthy cluster of storms, and it's going to skim the city, and that's definitely heavy rainfall, all that good stuff. Toronto, you could see not picking up rain right now, but they could still see some activity from this line right there that is moving through Cleveland and into portions of just really exited Michigan, moving on to Canada. Ottawa, again, Montreal, Quebec, all those cities could be picking up quite a bit of rainfall from all these storms in the next few hours. But our attention turns towards the south. Let's quickly focus right there. Notice a pop-up showers, pop-up thunderstorms. It's clear, sunny, and then all of a sudden we have downpour. That's the type of weather that will be going on across the south. Just pop-up scattered storms, a bit more organized right there across the south. And of course the monsoons, look at them, pretty widespread. And that is because they have been going on there for the past several days, right? But they're pretty widespread today because they're getting help from this low pressure system. Well, it's not really low pressure yet, but it's going to be the culprit that's going to deliver a lot of rain and severe weather potentially for the central U.S. And it's helping promote these showers and thunderstorms down across the southwest. And let me tell you, they need every bit of that. Notice Nevada, Utah, Colorado, light to moderate rain, good batches of it. You can see it's not as isolated. They're obviously the heaviest of the heaviest rain is isolated, but some nice to light to moderate rain, healing rain is falling across Colorado where they need it the most, and to portions of Utah and even Nevada. So definitely not the worst, but preferably it could get further towards the northwest where they really need the rain. But notice across Wyoming, Montana, right, we do have that showers. Those showers, they also need that rain, but that's gonna explode into a very powerful system. Right now it looks nothing compared to what we will get at. So let's take a look at the radar and see not the radar, take a look at the weather models and see what they have in store for us. So watch this little system right here. Notice the one across the northeast, southeastern Canada, again, depending on the perspective, is going to be shifting away rather quickly. Notice, by tomorrow 1 p.m. it's pretty much out of our watch area and shifting even into kind of central Canada. That's really, a lot less populated. But notice what happens across the west with that system. So the southwest sees its rain, so does Wyoming, and look, it just booms out onto the plains. Again, this model doesn't really do justice as to what it's going to probably look on the radar. Brilliant colors of red and orange, probably in a squall line formation, strong winds, some scattered thunderstorms by themselves, could be some supercells, large hail, maybe even a tornado or two. Tomorrow in the late morning and early afternoon into Iowa, Minnesota, we'd start seeing those storms into South Dakota and into Wisconsin. I'll show you on a high-res radar what they will look like. This isn't supposed to be kind of a portrayal of where the storms will line up. It's just kind of showing us where possibility for rain is. It's not really specific or high res enough to show us exactly, but notice where those bright colors are, you could figure that's where it's favoring the heavy rain. And look at some of the areas in southern Wisconsin, Iowa, northern Illinois for several days and several rounds. Look at that. That round passes through very heavy rain. Another one forms across Iowa and Minnesota and comes through. And that's not it. On Friday or into late Thursday, early Friday, they reinvigorate and pass right there into northern Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, yet again. So it starts off as a cluster. It develops its own low pressure right there, several of them, small, weak ones, barely a low pressure. You could see kind of going in and out of existence. But the cold front that it drags is very, very stalled out, and it's very weak. And sorry, not weak. It's powerful, but it's very slow moving, and that's why rounds and rounds of storms are going to be occurring. But once it moves out, it moves out. And notice it starts targeting more towards the south, into Nebraska, Kansas, into this kind of slope arc view. It's kind of weird because some of these locations will be picking up their rain while these areas will be already done with it. It's going to be kind of in this type of shape, as you can see. And by the time it is now next Monday already, and this again, the same cold front is still kind of dragging on, and it finally moves out, but it's still impacting the southern United States. But notice that the north and the east really dry out. We do have maybe a few smaller systems, but much more quieter weather for about a week. Then potentially maybe some more activity, but even then, you know, this rain may seem like a lot when it's coming down, and it probably will be, but there could be not a lot of rain for next week or two, which again is concerning, as I mentioned in my other videos that I made, because a lot of those locations, while yes, they will see heavy rain with this event, they'll just stay dry for many days. Okay, so let's take a look at what the GFS shows in terms of accumulated precip, and let's just leave it at like 170 so it encapsulates this whole system. Notice across the south, once it moves there, it does produce some rain, but notice that corridor, wherever that sets up, and this could be wider, a bit further towards the north, a bit further towards the south, you know, a bit more on an angle, on an axis, but wherever that sets up, there's definitely going to be some heavy rain. Definitely a flooding potential. So wherever that corridor sets up, there will be obviously the threat, in my opinion, probably the biggest one, aside from the more normal modes of severe weather, lightning, damaging wind, heavy or large hail and tornadoes. Probably it's going to be, again, more widespread heavy rain. As you can see, some of these locations approaching up to 6 inches, which is definitely quite a bit. I do want to say that in a very long range, it looks as if the Southwest will continue to see rain, which that's good. But at that point, you know, they've been seeing a lot of rain, and they'll continue to see rain. It would be nice if that could go a bit further towards the north and a bit more, well, not as, you know, concentrated and strong when it's coming down. As again, that's causing a flash flood concern. Okay, so let's take a look at the European model, another global model about again the tomorrow system, and notice that there's our system moving out into the northeast, southeastern Canada into tomorrow, today into tomorrow. That's our first system. Again, look at that. It just blows out across South Dakota right there. Nebraska, Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin. Definitely a multi-day and multi-state and multi-wave storm. So again, everything about this is multi. And notice as it pushes into Minnesota, Wisconsin, there's a band right there. The European favors it a bit, going a bit further towards the north than, say, the GFS. But notice it does eventually bring that cold front down again across similar areas that have had that rain from that first wave, especially towards Wisconsin and Iowa. And then look, that cold front stalls out. And, you know, this may not look impressive, but under any of those thunderstorms, it's going to be a downpour. It may, you know, it will be coming down very, very heavily. And notice that it finally does gradually shift out. And likewise, the European keeps it very, very dry for a very long time, which really isn't that good of a thing. That rain would be nice if it was spread out over a larger period rather than falling all at once. But it's, again, its potential for that heavy rain is rather heavy. Notice some of these locations picking up 2, 3, 4, 5 inches. You know, just this is kind of indicating where the heaviest threat can be, but there will definitely be locations that end up with 6, 7 inches, and there will be probably some locations that don't really end up with that much, which, again, is kind of the unfortunate way these storms work. Let's take a look at the some of the high-res models, like the RAP. So this is a relatively good model that goes out to 51 hours. Let's see its total accumulated precipitation. Notice, look at all that rain spreading tomorrow across Iowa, Nebraska, South Dakota with that first wave. And notice that reaches into portions of Wisconsin. And the RAP model, it likes, with this system, to kind of keep it across same locations. Notice it doesn't go much further south, which honestly would make it worse, as you can see some of those amounts get pretty darn large, over 6, 7 inches. Anything yellow is over 4 inches, and some of those darker colors are over 6. So that wouldn't be good, but eventually it does start bringing it further down to the south. So yeah, wherever this does end up happening, it looks as if it will come in with a storm, with a punch of vigor, to say the least. This is the high-res Canadian. Notice even further north than the European and the RAP. I wouldn't say this is too accurate. But it's definitely a possibility that, there could be a bit of a northern track or a southern track, but this is kind of on the extreme. Now, this is probably as far north as it will go. The NAM has a bit of a better handle. You can see kind of showing a bit more widespread. While it does show it pretty far to the north, it doesn't just show it north. You can see it kind of brings it into Illinois, Iowa, into portions of even, Missouri, Illinois, once that cold front starts sagging south. But I do want to show you one model that I think does a very good job, and it has done a very decent job, but it's hard to tell whether it will do a decent job with this upcoming one. That's always a problem. One model may do a good job with the previous system, but it may not do a good job with the past one. So notice this was as of 4 p.m. today. The time stamps right here. 5 p.m., 6 p.m., 7 p.m. Notice some storms across the east, which is really, as you saw earlier, the radar. This model did a pretty good job of predicting this. Now notice, look what happens across South Dakota. We see that line, right? Initially, it doesn't look that big, but it starts tracking, and it starts going, and it starts picking up moisture. This is now into the overnight hours of today and into early tomorrow. This is 8 a.m., 9 a.m. Notice by tomorrow, even before noon, some storms making their way into Wisconsin, most of Minnesota, into Minneapolis, potentially Des Moines. And look, that first line, it does produce quite a bit of storms, and it starts congregating into this line that starts shifting to the south Indies. Look at that, southern Wisconsin into Illinois. Some rain. Again, how much? How will that hold together? How long? How strong? And exactly where? That's a question. And notice it does weaken, but right behind it, look what happens. We see more systems into northern Iowa, into southern Minnesota. We see not more systems, but more storms, another convective cluster of storms. And look at that. These ones potentially even stronger. This is now 11 p.m., 12, 1, 2, 3, 4. And it shifts into northern Illinois, southern Wisconsin, Iowa. Very, very heavy rain there across the Quad Cities and into Dubuque area. Green Bay potentially picking up some. And then that, again, dumps a lot of rain. By then, a lot of probably locations are already experiencing quite a bit of heavy rain in their soils. But look what this model does. It's 10 a.m. now on Thursday. And look, boom, an eruption of storms right there occurs. Some pretty strong. This is, again, could be a pretty severe weather day right there. As you can see, they're not in a line. They're more discrete. So they could become more severe more easily. And again, if you get hit by even one of those, that could lead to some flooding, let alone on top of what happened the last few days here. As you saw, those clusters coming through. So total accumulated precip in some of these locations, according to this model, approaching over 6 inches. Now, exactly, will that happen right there? Probably not. Maybe somewhere in the vicinity. That's most likely. Will it happen at all? I would say so. And in some locations, we'll see a bit less, some a bit more. But, yeah, definitely something to keep an eye on for. And let's just show you some other ones. This one only goes out to 48 hours, so it doesn't show those discrete cells. This is what it only shows from those 2 first waves. Notice, still quite a bit of rain. Again, widespread amounts of 2 to 3 inches. And this model now shows very similar things from that first 2 waves. Again, it only goes out to 48 hours. This HRDPS shows, again, very similar things from those first 2 waves, and it doesn't show that. It does start to show that second wave. You could see starting to develop, but again, it would peak during the day and afternoon and evening. Well, this only takes us through 1 p.m. Now, let's take a look at the HER model. This is a really good model. It goes out to 48 hours every 6 hours. This happened around 5 hours ago, so it's a bit delayed, but again, pretty good. Notice right there's our system across the northeast, drags through. It's 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, South Dakota. Look at that cluster. Very, very powerful. Moves through Nebraska, Iowa, Minnesota, and again, by tomorrow, by noon, it's already approaching La Crosse, Wisconsin, and it's racing towards cities like Chicago and Milwaukee. Quite a bit of rain right there, look. And another band right there, boom, by 8 p.m. And then we see another band right there across 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And we see that cold front start kind of trailing. And again, quite a bit of rain. It does bring a decent amount into portions of northern Wisconsin, the UP, northern Michigan, where they kind of need that rain in some areas, so that's definitely good. And notice total accumulated precip also decent amounts, but it doesn't show the full extent of the system yet, as it only goes out to 48 hours. but already some 2 to 3 inch amounts of rain. Probably some isolated ones of up to 4 to 5. I would not be surprised. And yeah, this is definitely an interesting system, an interesting storm. Pretty long-lived, as you saw from the weather models. It could be, let's look at the NAM. It could be going on for quite a while. I want to look at the NAM because it's not as high res, but it takes us a bit further out. So again, here's our first system. Look at that. Across the Dakotas, and boom, it just explodes right there. And that definitely delivers quite a bit of rain, right? And then look, it just continues over the same areas very, very slowly. I mean, this is by Friday at this point. And every one of these storms has a potential. Look at that, still in northern Illinois by late Friday. And we still kind of see that hanging on to the Indianapolis area by Saturday. So it really takes quite a while for this stuff to get scoured out. But hopefully, it will eventually. And I did show you these rainfall amounts on this website, which you can see, again, favoring quite a bit of rain. But again, hopefully you will get some rain because the pattern after this looks rather dry. Storm Prediction Center for severe weather. It could be concerning. So Tuesday, which is today, notice right there, it's where it's going to erupt across Wyoming, South Dakota, and into portions of Nebraska, as well as into the Northeast and into portions of southern Canada with that severe weather. And then notice, Wednesday, right? Definitely a interesting day. A large area of an enhanced, maybe, potentially they could issue in moderate. I wouldn't really expect them to, but notice the tornado threat is there. The wind is definitely there, and the hail is also there. So that is definitely a large area. And again, that's to do with those clusters that could be, passing through. And on Thursday, it's still far out, but you could see they're already issuing a marginal. Definitely an enhanced will be probably issued with that line of storms, as you saw, those scattered supercells that could be more severe than the thing that's going to be going on tomorrow. All right, that's basically it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you got some information out of this, knowing what's to come in the next few days for your area. The Northwest, not really seeing much. The Southwest, continued monsoon, really. Southwest meaning New Mexico, Arizona, southern Colorado, and Utah. And then the South, nothing really much. Pop-up showers up until this cold front finally reaches your area, but that's really by late weekend, not even this week. And then Midwest, obviously, the storm system, several waves of this rain could be damaging storms, quite a bit of heavy rain. Northern Plains, unfortunately, not seeing much. They would need it, but not really much. No, the South Central Canada, not seeing much as well. Then the Northeast, Southeastern Canada, activity again a bit later on than the Midwest from this first system once it passes through, but then that second one catches up to you as well, but it's again a bit later on. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed, hope you learned something new, and stay careful, stay tuned to your local National Weather Service office or Environmental Canada if you're in Canada. All right, stay safe. See ya. Bye.